Hi, I'm Kyle,
Hi, I'm Gil.
and this is K Squared. So it's a little bit different today. Obviously, we've got a stand-in for Kyle, but Gil is our definitely our top commenter on all of our videos. So I figured I would come visit Gil and go hiking, which
Well, yeah, that didn't work.
didn't actually work out too well, but still a good time all around for sure.
It's
Um,
stupid snow.
yeah, snow's a little bit rough sometimes. We've got two questions today. The first one is who
Childhood
is
hero.
your childhood hero? And then the second one is shower thoughts. And I'll elaborate a little bit more on those. So, first one, Gil, who would you say was a childhood hero of yours?
So I'm actually gonna go with Mike Allstott, the
Okay.
running back from who was for Purdue, played his entire career in Tampa. He's kind of why I started watching Tampa Bay football. Old rumbling, bumbling, stumbling. Um, was I would consider the last great American fullback. I don't think anybody's ever gonna top what he did.
Yeah.
No one's ever come close to being anywhere near him. I mean, the man just ran over everyone. And there's not been a fullback in the NFL since. So it was always fun to watch. I was never athletic enough to be a fullback, but it was always a fun thought to like, that'd be fun to do just to run through people and run over people.
Yeah. That is wild though, because I do feel like the game of football has like evolved so much where the fullback position is almost like disappeared. Every now and then you'll like see it, but
And
majority of the time you don't see that
you'll
position
see
at
people
all.
on the roster that are fullback and all they do is block. And I'm like, can we just call him a blocker or something? Like
Yeah,
we just change because the fullback is not a fullback and has not been a fullback in years.
yeah. Oh. Well, I definitely would say that I have like multiple childhood heroes, but I feel like the most recent one that comes to mind is like Jeremy Clarkson. I definitely grew up watching him on Top Gear and the Grand Tour, and the Grand Tour recently came to an end.
I
And
have not finished it yet.
okay, well, I'm not going to tell you about it, but it definitely was very emotional. It was one of those things where like you grew up watching these guys go around and driving different, fancy cars, and it helped you learn about different vehicles. And also like the friendship that grew with him and his three co-hosts throughout those years is almost like you're like losing a family member, which is crazy how like people identify
Yeah.
with people who are on TV who they've never met before, and you like think you have this almost like a relationship with them because like, oh yeah, that's like my uncle so and so or whatever. But yeah, definitely was sad that that came to an end. I'm glad that he's still going to be doing Clarkson's Farm, that TV
I
show.
need to start that too.
Man,
I've
it's
seen clips and it looks really funny.
I
So
think
it's
it's
not.
awesome. And I just like that mentality that they had with that show, like the Grand Tour and with Clarkson's Farm, where it's almost like the way YouTube is now, where like somebody who doesn't know anything will start a project and they'll video it and you'll see their progression as they like didn't know anything going all the way up to like becoming an expert on it. And I think that's awesome. And I think that's one of those things for me that's just like really fascinating because I always like love to learn.
Yeah.
And it's just fun seeing other people learn and like figure out things as you also figure it out with them on that journey. So I think that's awesome. I think it's sad though that that series has like come to an end.
Well, I've kind of had the mentality if I don't watch the last of it, it hasn't ended yet.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there's always something else to watch that
yeah,
it's not over yet.
yeah.
So I need to watch it. I think I've finished up to I think the sand one is the one they
Yeah.
did right before it. I'm pretty sure I finished that one. And then like the last run that they do, I think that's the last thing
Yeah.
I've got to watch. And I'm
Well,
like, I don't know if I want to watch it
the
because
last one is very nostalgic because they like, I'm not, I won't tell you, you can just watch it, but very good. And also, I don't know, man, it's just very interesting to see like something come to an end like that. And I feel like it's been that way with other like TV shows and stuff, but yeah, just
yeah.
sad.
Look, it seems like this is one of the few TV shows that has gone off air and it's not been a just disaster.
Yeah.
Because like Scrubs, they did another season and the ninth season was terrible and it kind of hey,
We got cat interference.
sorry about this. Come here.
Other thing I was gonna say too, sorry to interrupt you for a second, but you mentioned like you hadn't watched it and you feel like it's not over. I do that with like sequels to movies. When
Yeah,
I think that the sequel is gonna be really bad, it's like I'm not gonna watch it just because it's gonna ruin like the original. So
yeah. But yeah, there's been a few TV shows and stuff that have done another season or done the last season and it's been awful. Just like that's just what everybody remembers.
Yeah.
But like this seems like everybody's very happy it went out on the right run, and that's exciting that it's like, okay, we didn't screw up the end, and everybody's happy, and they don't want to see it go. Obviously,
Yeah.
no,
Of
nobody
course.
wanted that show to ever end.
Right.
I mean, what was it, like 23 seasons on BBC before Amazon picked them up?
Yeah.
So there's just 30 years of this. That's crazy to do
Yeah.
the same thing for 30 years. I don't think anyone's done anything close to that.
No.
Yeah, for it to
It is
finally end,
wild.
it's just kind of sad.
Yeah, and I think though that void, because like there's been no like primetime TV show that's been able to like replace them. I think that
No.
void has kind of been filled a little bit by like the YouTube world though, because there are like YouTube car influencers, so you can go watch their channels, and it literally a lot of their shit, a lot of the stuff that is on their channels is similar to what
Yeah.
they used to do on Grand Tour Top Gear. I feel like it's late like almost imitating like the original, which is great.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I'm not gonna name drop, but there are a few YouTubers I
yeah,
watch that like they kind of imitate in the beginning. Now they kind
yeah.
of do their own thing, but they still have some very top gear. I don't think you'll ever do anything on the car world and not have
Yeah.
somewhere like, oh, Top Gear did this, and so,
Yeah.
all right, yeah, it's that they will be forever just known as the car guys
Yeah.
forever.
For sure. And I do think they just had that like perfect format too, whereas like you with your friends and you get in a bunch of cars and you like make fun of your cars. I feel like that's what we did growing up in high school and stuff too. Whereas like you would have your car and you'd like talk trash about your other friend's car, or talk up one of your other friend's car and just like go
Yeah.
around and do whatever. All right, so moving on to the second topic, shower thoughts. I definitely feel like, and I've heard you've seen Scrubs obviously, so you know
Oh
about
yeah.
the Epiphany toilet. But I definitely feel like I get some of my best thoughts while I'm like sitting in the shower, like either thinking about the day or whatever. So I was curious if you had similar circumstances or similar thoughts.
Not all the time. I mean, a lot of times I'll just be in the shower and I'll just think of something food related because that's all I've done for 20 years.
Yeah.
So I'll be like, oh, I could do this with this. And none of it's ever like I'll write it down and I'll get back to it, sometimes I won't. Um, More of my thoughts are just very sporadic. Like I'll just be like work, like zoned out doing something, and then my brain will be like, hey, guess what? You're gonna think of this real quick. I'm like, that's a great idea. So there's like 3 or 4 notes in my phone of just
Yeah.
like I'm not gonna say what it's called, but it's like bad ideas, like stuff that's like this is really dumb, but I might want to try this.
Yeah.
Food, there's like a food one for like food ideas. There's business ones, and I think of a business thing, like, oh, I need to find this paperwork or something. So
Right.
like my phone is full of notes where I'm constantly like, just as soon as I think of something, I've got to get it down because I am horrible with remembering something. Like I'll think of stuff and then 20 minutes later, like, wait, what did I just think of? And then it's just gone. So
Yeah.
I've had to start putting stuff down. But as for the shower specifically, mostly it's just food related. I'll
Okay.
just be like thinking of like a new menu item or a new dish or like how to make something better,
Yeah.
which is sad that I've trained my brain to only think about food.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, especially when it's like what you do. I definitely, I mean, I feel like I definitely have like sporadic thoughts as well, but it's just funny because I've had those moments where like I've been in the shower and I will be thinking about a conversation that I had like days ago, and then like a response to that conversation will like come into my mind. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh man, I like should
No,
have said this, or
you'll think of a
yeah,
conversation from 10 years ago for some reason. You're like,
yeah,
man, I should have said this because this would have been way funnier. And it's
yeah,
like, why do we do that as
right,
humans? Like, why do people like think of random, like, I know I've had conversations and then come back later. I'm like, it'd been really funny if I'd have said this.
yeah.
Like, and I'm like, that conversation was 3 years ago. I haven't talked to that person
I
since.
know,
Why
I
am I
know.
thinking of this?
I definitely have that. And then I also have like, I'll have like ideas for this for YouTube or something else. My thing is, I'm also notorious for not writing them down. I've started doing a better job of like putting
Oh yeah.
ideas in my notes on my iPhone, but I've kind of gotten away from it. But I'll do the same thing when I'm sleeping, where I'm like, I'll wake up and have like a great idea, and they'll be like, oh, I'll remember that, and I'll go back to sleep and like completely forget it. It'll be like the most simple thing too.
Yeah.
But it kind of reminds me of like The Sims a little bit. I don't know if anybody plays that anymore, but when you like give like a person in The Sims a task and then you delete the task midway and then they like walk into that room and like act like they don't know what they're doing and then they turn around and walk back out. It's like that happens to me all the time. So
I think the funny thing is when you'll do something in Sims, you'll give something a task and then you forget that character exists and they just keep doing the
oh
task.
yeah, that's
And
true.
you'll come back and it's like they'll have made something, but they'll now it's been like a month since you've checked on. They've made like a million of
Yeah.
something. You're like, oh, I forgot about that.
I completely forgot you were doing that.
Um, the worst though is like the phones now. You're like, hey Google or hey Siri or whatever, and like have them take a note down, but then it's like, wait, how do I get that note back? Like I've done that before. Like I know there are notes in my phone
Yeah.
that I said, hey, do this, and then I can't find it. And I'm like, and I like you ask it to bring the notes up and it doesn't have an idea what you're talking about. So it's like, oh, there's hidden notes in my phone that I can't
Yeah.
get to, which is so much fun.
I still have an ancient phone, so I haven't really done that very much.
Yeah, you really
I
need that
know,
new
I know.
phone.
It's just one of those things like life gets in the way where it's like, oh, well, I need to take the dog to the vet this weekend, or like this weekend I need to go get the car fixed. So it's like the phone works fine, so I'll just like keep going with it, even though my screen is cracked to oblivion right now.
They do trade-ins where you
Oh,
can,
I know you can, but it's just finding the time. Like
I
it's
don't think
not.
they're gonna take it. I don't think
I
anybody will
don't think they'd
trade
even
that
take it
in.
at this point.
I,
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
just have to get a
I
whole
thought
new
your
one.
phone was just like a cracked screen or something. Then you
No,
told
it's
me
old.
what phone it was,
Yeah,
and I was like, I can't
yeah,
believe that works.
yeah. Old iPhone for sure. All right, man. Any other last minute thoughts? If not, then we will end it.
Nope. Bald cow, you missed out. We had a lot of fun
Yeah.
in the snow.
I'm gonna
Got
throw a little bit of shade on Kyle, but perfectly good reason. Kyle forgot that we had agreed to come up here and see Gil and planned a surprise birthday party for our other roommate on the same weekend, which totally understandable. It happens. But I just thought it was hilarious because Kyle's a little bit forgetful of himself sometimes every now and then.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
mean, when we drove up, it was supposed to be a very adventurous hike. And then unfortunately it snowed the last 2 days. And the park was like, it's too icy, you can't go up there.
yeah.
And we were like, oh, that's okay. And we just drove around in the snow, which was actually a lot of fun.
It's still
Um,
adventurous for sure.
yeah, went to a winery,
Less
went just basically drove around the snow for about two
yeah,
hours, which was a
very
lot of
true.
fun.
Yeah, good time for
Um,
sure. All right,
yeah,
man. Well, we will end it there. So I'll do Kyle's part. If you would, please comment, like, and subscribe. We really do enjoy your comments, even though we have not been consistent on these videos at all. But if you do write a comment, we will try to read it on our show for you. All right, we'll see y'all next time.